I'll bring this back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 320th episode of the Geek First podcast. I'm the lobster, Trask now.
I am the son of a lighthouse keeper, Dylan Nuss.
I am the curdled field, Taylor Field.
I am the dummard. Kirkland Patzer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you probably have not guessed, unless you look at the title of this podcast. This is a Lighthouse review, or The Lighthouse Review, directed by
just
Robert
any old
Eggers.
lighthouse.
Yeah. This is directed by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch. We're going to do non-spoilers review, and then we'll get into spoilers. It's probably going to be a wild conversation because it's definitely one of the weirdest movies of the year. We got lots of reviews popping off. These three did Zombieland last week.
That's right.
Me and Kirkland did El Camino a couple weeks ago. Me and Trey did the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker trailer. So lots of content in the past, lots coming up in the future. We just discussed my lobster. And then most importantly, November 2nd, please join us, because if you want to see some people just go nuts, just like the Lighthouse, that's where we want to go November 2nd, because once we get in those wee hours, we're going to be like the Lighthouse. I often felt watching this movie that it was the story of what happened if me and Taylor were locked in the Lighthouse for many years. You were definitely Willem Dafoe, and I'm
I
definitely
was Willem Dafoe?
100%.
Taylor, you're definitely Willem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if you like this movie, you want to see us get kooky, come watch over, because you see that title right there. 6-person title for that, or 6-person tournament for that title. You see that man right there, Kirkland Patzer. He has 8 more days than he's losing that sports title. Me or Taylor Field in the first ever sports three-way. Hunka is crashing the feed.
I'm just noticing that. New sweater on Kirkland as well? Is that from your
It caught
concert?
me
you
off
went?
really guard
merch.
when I saw
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Caught you off really guard.
Yeah. What else we
I like
got? Hunka Boys, we drop in a superhero showcase. Just tons of stuff. Oh, and next week, our last kind of GV episode before the stream is a Marvel fan cast. We had lots of fun there.
As well as Outer Worlds and Call of Duty Modern Warfare reviews at some point in the next few days.
Is Taylor you going to do that review? I keep asking you.
He's trying.
The review for Call of Duty?
Yeah, it's not going to
It's still
install in
downloading.
time.
Yeah.
150 fucking gigabytes.
150 gigs.
I
So
feel like that's more than Red Dead.
And that's
it
with a
might be.
disc.
So here's the thing. I got the game. There's virtually no lineup EB games. I was like, this is great. I got home, popped it in.
Do you have to download every game on the Xbox?
download
Because that's the
Well, it's
full
usually
game.
like- it's
off
usually
the
like
disc.
updates,
Yeah, I
right,
mean you
too?
have to, and
like the full game?
pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god.
So
No single player.
I put the disc in, and it was like, okay, there's like 5 multiplayer packs. I downloaded those. They were like 15 gigabytes each.
Why didn't you do
the
those?
game's
after?
out. How is there like DLC packs?
They put a patch.
I don't know which one was the actual core game, but I got through all those, and it felt like 40, 50 gigs. And then I was like, okay, now here's one that was like 70
yeah, it just
gigs.
felt like that. Man.
So I started downloading that one, and I finally got through that one. Then it's like, okay, now you have an hour and a half for this other one. I was like, holy shit. And then an update pops in, which is another like 10 gigs. I was like, holy crap. So I quit at 11:30 at night. I was like, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. I got an final exam the next day. So I got back home today after the exam, finished the exam early, and put the thing in, and it was installing. And then I wasn't paying attention. I went and started watching a TV show while it was up there installing, right?
Yeah.
So to my luck, I didn't know the Xbox turned off. So when I flicked back to the
faulty
input,
console.
the Xbox has an auto shut off or whatever. So when I went back on, I was like, oh, fuck, there's another hour left of the update. So it's still updating.
You haven't played the game yet.
No. So I'm hoping the servers are back up and
It's
running.
been 4 weeks. Still downloading.
5 weeks, 2 days.
All right.
I think that
So-
story needed to be told on this particular
think so.
review. So
Yeah.
I
I'm
appreciate
sure the
it.
fans love that tuning into this episode.
They do. The fans are here for Taylor Field. Let's
Taylor,
go.
do you think we're getting a midnight release for Luigi's Mansion? Just quickly.
I don't know. I pre-ordered it
Halloween
at the
night.
mall. Where did you pre-order it?
I don't pre-order games.
You're just going to walk in and get it?
I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's not risky anymore.
No.
It ain't 2006.
Well, if there's a
Yeah.
midnight launch,
After you just
I'll
said
let you
barely
know.
no one was there at the midnight launch for Call of Duty, so
I'll let you know if there is a midnight launch, because
Good.
usually they don't know till like like before.
There's
they're
nothing
about
else
to
coming out
release
that
it.
day, so
I
honestly,
know.
you're pretty 50-50 on that one, I'd
yeah,
say.
I bet not.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well,
be
people
a
will be out anyways for Halloween.
fucking
so.
loser banging on the door in the morning.
Yeah, but I don't think
Look
EB
in.
Games keeps their doors open because people are out and about.
No, but if there's enough people out for a midnight launch, you know.
Out and about. You know who was out and about, or maybe not so, was Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, because they were stuck in the Lighthouse. We're going to talk about this film. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 when we're done talking about non-spoilers and recommendations, and someone's going to say Geek vs. Assemble.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you're going to say it because you're the Willem Dafoe of this podcast.
True.
And then we'll
Back
get
to
into
formula.
spoilers. So, you know what, Taylor, Phil, let's start with you.
You know, It's hilarious actually because
Hilarious.
this movie I didn't have any real interest in it, and then it kind of turned into like a meme for the Geekverse, and like I saw that GIF.
It's probably our
one
most
GIF.
used GIF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Is that the thumbnail?
I couldn't find it. No.
What do you mean? The GIF is in our group chat. 100
I know,
times a day.
but the quality was shit when I expanded it, so I was like,
Oh.
can't go bad quality at Geekverse. We've got to bring you the best
I
quality.
think it would have been worth it.
But yeah, it just became this thing that just kind of resonated amongst the Geekverse, and I just thought, well, I got to go see it. And when I was buying my ticket, I was like, okay, Madison, like I'm gonna buy a ticket for this movie, but I don't know if you should come, but. I'll leave it up to you because this movie's wild. There's
Did
an
she
octopus
come?
in it.
She did.
She came to the movie.
I
yeah.
wish she was on this review. I'd love to ask Madison. what
After
she
the
thought
movie,
about
she did
this.
not seem stoked on it. I'll tell you that much.
no, she did not.
She's like, I like the black and white.
No, she looked at me. She's like, that was a waste of my life. I'm like, I told you, I gave you an out, but you wanted to see it with me. So, yeah, it was wild. And there were so many just sequences that just left me like in awe. And I can't believe how much of a young crowd there was here. And there was, between me and Dylan, when I got my ticket, there was one guy who got his seat. And this random guy who I think was younger than us was just in between us.
Yeah.
And it was very
The whole
interesting.
movie?
The whole movie. There was a lot of young people there. It was actually
Madison, baby.
it blew my mind, and it was
Yeah,
funny
but then there was
because-
young people for him, but then also a couple moms right next to me who were
Ooh,
like,
Willem
"Ooh,"
Dafoe.
whenever he was taking.
Willem
No, I
Dafoe.
think they're
Willie D.
I think they're there for the Defoe, huh?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That big D.
Old
Only-
man Willie.
Only the Sam Raimi Spider-Man boys are there for the Willie D.
Yeah.
I really got a kick out of how like Kirkland showed up, and you brought like a whole crew with you.
Oh yeah.
people,
I brought
and
the entourage.
They're all wearing toques.
Oh yeah. It was the two
I feel
crew.
like none of
It's our
you
gang.
knew what you were like getting
for?
yourselves in. Yeah, in for.
I feel like
that's
you're
the word.
profiling my friends.
Wow.
No, I'm
My
kinda
friends
like,
were
I'm
extremely
sh-
psyched on
What,
this
co-
film.
what
shooting
color
it
were
off
their
to you.
skin, Taylor?
What's that?
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
What color were their tubes?
The theater was all
Black
black
and
and white, so
I-
take it away, Kirkland.
I don't know.
Segue
No,
to
no,
you.
no,
That
no,
was
no.
very
You
strange.
didn't
Save
even
me.
tell them if you liked the movie.
Well, you know what? To be fair, I think saying almost anything about this movie, like I don't know where the spoiler line is and isn't for this
I
one.
have no idea.
I really don't know. Like if you
I
come,
disagree.
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's from the trailers. I just still want two simple questions. Would you recommend it? And did you like it? You didn't say
and
once
those
if you
aren't
liked
easy
it.
questions to answer.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to answer that question.
I completely agree with Taylor.
I mean,
I completely agree.
did I like it? I mean, there were parts that maybe I enjoyed, but I have no idea if I liked it or if I didn't. I walked out just thinking like,
He walked
I
out
don't
after
know.
the movie. After the movie, not during.
yeah, after. I
you
really
were
just don't know.
When you were watching the movie though, were you like, I wish I was home right now, or were you like,
Well,
I'm
I never
enjoying
felt
this.
like I wished I was home, but I never felt like I wished I was in the theater. I was in some like in between.
You're in limbo.
He wishes he was
Because
in
like
Lighthouse.
there was some weird stuff that would happen, and I was like, "Well, this is kind of weird. I don't need this." But
Hmm.
then the next thing would happen, like, "Well, I feel like this is good, but I don't know."
Interesting. Okay.
And would you recommend it?
yeah.
It depends how old you are.
So what's your age?
What's your age?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's movie recommended for blank? Blank and up.
blanking up.
See, I wouldn't say an age though, because obviously in our own
Well-
theater we had a good spectrum. I'd say like, I mean, I'm kind of stealing your review right here, but I feel like if you're just a fan of like film, I feel like you would love this movie because there's a lot of cool like cinematography shots and there's a lot of just interesting dialogue and like I guess you would call it a period piece because like what's this
Yeah,
set in like
sort of.
World War?
Yeah, something
Like
like
that.
that.
1800s.
Yeah, it's just like a really like interesting like styles of like film. So like I feel like if you're a film junkie, you would like this film.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's filmed in Nova Scotia.
Interesting. Shouts out to Canada.
Shout outs to
So
Canada.
it's Canada.
Let's go Canada. You can do your review now that I just stole it.
I would say you have to be at least I'd say 21 or older to see this movie.
I won't go. I won't.
21?
No.
Yeah.
Dude,
I would
I'm
say-
not even 21.
I would not let my 20-year-old kid
So-
go see
I don't think.
Wait,
it's
are you
that-
are you recommending it to everyone who's 21 or older?
Yes.
Like that's every single everyone.
Yes.
Wow, that is crazy. In theaters,
in
you
theaters
think people should spend their hard-earned money
on a cheap
everyone
Tuesday.
who's 21?
I
okay.
don't think they should go opening night like we did. I think for a perfect balance, at least 21 years of age, and go see it on a cheap Tuesday.
Perfect balance. Okay, I'm gonna
All right.
take this over because that was a wild ride.
That is wild.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. My history of Robert Eggers is I watched The Witch, his very highly touted horror movie. Says okay, I want to see what this is going on there, and it's very similar experience I had to this. To me, it's kind of like Ari Aster with Hereditary and Midsummer. That they're very similar films in type of tone and type of pacing, but this is the one, like him, I like less than Ari Aster. So The Witch, I liked it. There's an air of mystery going around. There's great visuals. There's great acting. And when it ends, I just kind of go, oh, that was the movie. And I kind of felt that's where we were heading. And that's kind of exactly how I felt about this movie. This is a movie that, on just a technical film standpoint, I couldn't give you a single con. Acting is phenomenal. Some of the shots in here are phenomenal. The score is really great and haunting. The sound design and some of the imagery, it's all great, but it just I think this film, it just comes down to like a personal taste. Like I said, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with this movie. It's just not one that is necessarily for me, and it's even a movie I would pass. Like I think I won't want to spoil my score, but it's like a mid-high or something like that. But it's just more a film I appreciate. I maybe will watch it once more in life because I loved the ratio. I love the color, the black and white, the way he shot. Because some people do black and white, and it doesn't matter. And it does not spoil. There's just moments where Robert Pattinson's on a dock, and just the way the light and the darkness would go with the color scheme, and the way he kind of placed it and would place Patterson, the way he would. I'm forgetting the words. I'm not going to go down that route again, but. He just has a really keen visual eye, and he's a guy that I'm always going to watch his stuff. We were talking about Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding. He's kind of like that, where it's just he makes weird stuff, and I think I'm going to always kind of walk out and be like, oh, yeah, I kind of like that, or I like that bit more, or I like that bit less, but it's never going to be one of my favorite films. It's not going to be a film I revisit. Like I said, I think I will watch this one more time in my life, but if I didn't see it again, I wouldn't be mad because I like it, but it wasn't for me in the sense of it's a very simple story, and I think this is a story that we've seen many times where it's just this is the bare bones, and you can tell us from the trailer that something's wrong on this island, and it reveals itself. It's like a mystery of what's going on as you go further in the story. We've seen that many times in horror films. I think this is just you got an auteur director who's so good visually and technically. So I think that's the thing. Like, this could be a short story. I think it is based on a book. It feels like a book. The pacing of it's very slow. So I enjoy it, but I think it was very simple and, I won't say predictable because weird stuff happens in this movie, but I think, like, if you had asked me what do you think are the possibilities of this movie, it seemed like kind of the route we were going. So, yeah, I liked it enough. It's not one I'm going to be rushing to see again, and it's a film that I more appreciate than enjoy.
It's an interesting way of putting it. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll take it back.
It's like when you see in restaurants when it's like you see those. I always use this analogy when you see these nice dishes and it's like a little piece of meat and then like a little drizzle and then like a salad at the end. Like, oh, it tastes so good and look how great it is. Yeah, that's fine, but I'd rather go to fucking Grand 88 or Golden Corral and just eat that greasy, fish tacos or something like that. That's the
MCU buffet.
Well, yeah, well, not always though. It's just even something like a Mad Max where it's like that. It has all the things that I like in this movie, visuals and stuff like that. But then it has like fun character stuff and a story that's really it's basic, but it's really unique. Where this is, I think his mind is unique in some stuff he does with it, but it's like, it's just, the trailer you've seen is just kind of two guys in a lighthouse that maybe are kind of losing their minds, and it doesn't go much further than that. So,
yeah, other than what I kind of said earlier, where it feels like a film for like film buffs or like junkies or like just love like the style, the process of what a film is. Like those people, I feel like they'll just really appreciate like what Travis said, how he worded that. But like for me, I mean, we haven't heard from Dylan yet, but like I feel like I probably liked it the most out of everyone here. I just like there's a lot of moments that I was just laughing at, and it wasn't even supposed to be funny. Like this isn't a spoiler or anything, but there's one moment where Willem Dafoe's sitting on a bed and he's just like basically talking to Robert Pattinson, and I knew that it was like the part from that GIF that Taylor was kind of talking about earlier, and I literally could not stop laughing. Like I was covering my mouth and I could not look at the screen because it was just I was picturing the GIF, and it's not even like he was saying something funny. It was just his look, and I could not stop laughing on it. And it was just so.
I was waiting for the zoom.
So hysterical.
Zoom in never.
It never came.
I think that's not.
I appreciate whoever added that effect.
Yeah, that was never in a trailer or anything. That was just
the Tarantino zoom in.
Yeah. So I was definitely anticipating that. I wasn't sure if it had happened because, like I said, I wasn't even looking at the screen because I was just trying to like hold my laughter for just the other viewers, the people that had spent money for this movie. I wanted them to enjoy it.
You also spent money for this movie.
Absolutely, okay. I did. My hard-earned cash. Which I think it was well spent, honestly, because I really enjoyed this film. Like I said, like there's comedic parts that just worked with me. Probably not all the time, but definitely majority of like I'll probably do like 70-30. The humor worked for me. I don't know if it was intended humor or it was just like such a like like I said earlier, it was just the look. It was just something so shocking for me that I was just like, this is hilarious. I don't know if it's meant to be like that.
I think it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
I think this movie could be dead serious for some people because I think there's a really lot of comedy in this movie because it's a weird ass movie. So I think someone could say this is their favorite comedy of the year and be like, I could see it.
It could be for sure. And then so I really like the comedic parts. There was a lot of visual stuff that I mentioned that I really enjoyed. I really liked the black and white effect, and like you said, the aspect ratio. I just thought it's so unique and just different from films that we've seen like nowadays, which are mostly comic book films or like remakes. Like I feel like that's kind of majority of films that are coming out. Yeah, but it was really cool and just it felt like a one of a kind film. People might argue that it looks like an older film, like what I don't know what era you would call it, that came out mostly like black and white films, but some people might make
somewhere
that
in the 50s or before.
yeah, something like that. But like for me, I don't know, maybe I just haven't seen a lot of those films. It just felt so new to me, and definitely like a niche film. I definitely would agree that like majority of people probably would dislike this or just be bored, or I don't know, because it definitely is a slower film. And
I would only recommend this person or movie to one person I know, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone else say no, don't watch that.
Yeah, no, this is a film I definitely want to sit down and watch it with my dad. So that'll definitely be like at least one rewatch there. And then I have a couple friends that like I don't want them to see a trailer or hear anything about this movie. I'm just like, I just want to sit you down and just experience this.
Did you say you're gonna watch this with your dad?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why?
Yeah. Because him and I like watching scary movies together as well as just weird, trippy movies that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to. This definitely fits that category. I don't know how to put into words perfectly, but that's definitely really. Yeah, no, it's just phenomenal like acting performances though from those two, Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe. Like if I had just seen those two like on script or like on paper and just heard about what the movie is supposed to be, I'd be like, that's so weird. Because like many people, I feel like I kind of fell into that trap where, oh, Robert Pattinson, he's just like the Twilight guy, or Cedric. Yes, Cedric. Yeah, from Harry Potter. So like I definitely counted him out, I think, of like an actor wise. I know I know you recommended a film that
always
he did.
do. People don't listen.
But what was that
Good
one
Time.
film? Is that what it is?
Yeah, High Life on Prime Video right now. Excellent movies.
Yeah.
Well, High Life is in it, but he's always great in them. Good Time is great.
Yeah, so this one, I just think he did such a stellar performance. And yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this film. But like I said, it's a niche pick. Not everyone's going to like it. And I might recommend it to someone, and they're like, why the hell did you do that? This is so disturbing. Like, it's just terrible. But I don't know. There's one point in the film that it definitely just feels like a tone switch. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, because like Travis said, it's basically just two guys kind of going slowly crazier and crazier, and like I just felt like I was so deep down the rabbit hole that like there's no getting out of it, and it was awesome.
They even make a very meta comment that I'll talk on the spoilers to signify that the tone switch. Like a character literally says something like the plot's switching. Like okay, like it's a fucking kooky movie.
So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Oh man. I'm very much in the Taylor boat on this one, or in the Taylor Lighthouse. I don't know.
The Taylor Lighthouse.
I don't know.
You don't want to be that.
You don't want to be the Robert Pattinson. The Taylor's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck to think about this movie. This is one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. I agree with Travis's assessment that it is like the only thing I really can compare it to is Midsummer. Like Ari Aster's more Midsummer than not really like Hereditary. But there's another movie I think it's kind of like, but I'll talk about that in spoilers. However, yeah, so like Taylor, I'm kind of in this weird cosmos. I don't really know where to feel about this movie, but overall I would say I'm kind of negative on it. I don't think I really liked it that much. I think the technicals are all there, at least as these guys said. I like the 4:3 aspect ratio. I like the black and white. It's really well done. The sound, like there isn't really a soundtrack. It's just like loud noises. It's kind of like annoying.
Where is the soundtrack?
I guess there technically is, but it's more just like unsettling sounds, and it's like effective for what they're trying to do. Acting's really good. Writing I can't really speak on because, and this is not an exaggeration, but 50% of the dialogue I couldn't understand what they were saying. I think that is intentional. Like sometimes it is definitely intentional. Sometimes I'm not too sure. But because of that, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can comment much on the writing. Like, maybe there is some really good monologues, some good scenes. But
I was gonna say maybe if you're a sailor, you could be like, "Oh, I understand these guys."
Yeah,
100%.
true. Like, this is my uncle. I know everything he's saying. like I said before, I feel like the line for me to talk about this movie without spoilers is really thin, so I don't want to say too much. I will say that I feel like every single scene was 1 minute too long. So that in one scenario, it's not really a big deal, but when every scene is like that, it really adds up. So I felt like this movie dragged. I was really bored. I think if there's a lot of movies I watch on Netflix or Plex or something, I'll watch it for like 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, this is not for me. And I just turn it off and don't really finish it. This would definitely have been one of those had I been watching it at home, even though I liked the trailers for how weird it was. But I just was not really into it at all. There's a couple things that are funny, but honestly, when I was watching it, I didn't really find most things funny. I think it's more in hindsight. When we're in the group chat today is dropping like stupid lines and memes and just talking now, it's like funnier to look back on. But when I was watching it, I was really not that into it at all. So I have no idea who I'd recommend this to. I have no idea if I'd recommend this in theaters or not. So if you come to these reviews for breakdowns on, should use recommendations, I cannot help you there. These guys did that, but I have no comment on that. So I think that's all I want to say. Non-spoilers. I don't even know. I don't have a final thought. It's just this weird fucking movie, and that's all it is.
Taylor, I'll ask you non-spoilers before you get there. How do you feel about Pattinson becoming Batman now? Because you're you're a big hater.
I was gonna say, this is the first thing I've seen Robert Pattinson in since Twilight, and I actually made a point of saying in the group chat that his performance in this I will base his performance on this whether or not he can be Batman to me. And
Moment of truth.
I think he can do it.
Oh, look at that.
There we go.
He definitely showed character and intrigue, and I'm just wondering if he's going to incorporate this character into the role of
Bruce Wayne is a little effed up, but not this much.
There's one. Actually, I'll save it in the spoilers.
Yeah. See, he's not just the boy from Twilight anymore. He's
he's a man. He is
he's a man, all right.
We see that.
He is definitely a man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've no interest in seeing this movie, I think this is one you could stick around for spoilers, but I think go watch it because there's some shock value stuff. If not, we're about to get into spoilers because 3, 2, 1.
Geekverse assemble.
Where do we want to start with this bad boy?
I got one thing I need to
start with. You
found
my lobster?
So now that background horn noise, was that the horn on the island, or was that just added effect? Because I realized when they go inside, it was like it was faded out a little bit, and then when they're outside, it was blasting, and then he was cleaning out that big horn.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. Okay, is this an actual horn, or is this part of like the soundtrack?
Yeah, it's the horn.
Yeah, it's a horn.
It's like the Lighthouse to show sailors where they are.
I think he was in it because he was doing maintenance, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, I was
fueled.
thinking that it might go off when he's in there, and that would
just shoots him.
Just awful. Not shoot him, but
like a cannon.
Destroys you. It's an explosion.
Okay, good to know.
I wanted to quickly mention this because I was gonna say it on the non-spoiler. I don't know if it is a spoiler, but just when he's at the cistern and just fucks up that seagull.
Oh yeah.
There was a guy behind. I don't know if he was behind me or beside or someone. He's just like, "That's our next Batman." I just heard him say that quickly. I just
was behind you.
Okay, yeah. I was like, "That's what a comment."
That's Penguin right there.
So weird though, Taylor. That was behind you. He knew right away.
You were one row down below me. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
There was one row.
So Taylor's like, it wasn't me, so it had to have been the guy.
And that's the one I was referring to because he destroys the seagull, and my favorite shot
That's
of
a
the
good
movie,
word to use, destroys.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite shot of the movie is when they pan up the entire lighthouse to go all the way up to the the compass or whatnot, and then it changes directions, and then Willem Dafoe literally comes up and says, "The winds have changed." So it was literally to me the moment of this is a normal, these guys are on a lighthouse, and then the second he kills the seagull, it shows he's snapped and everything's about to go to shit. So that's why it's I feel like there is on purpose some
you don't kill a seabird.
No,
bad luck to kill a seabird.
Yeah, there's on purpose some, to me, that was a really meta moment of looking into the camera being oh yeah, if you're wondering when the bad stuff's about to happen, it's gonna happen now.
For sure.
So yeah,
that was the point I was thinking of earlier when I could just feel the tone switch, and then like you just mentioned, Willem Dafoe literally says it. The winds are changing.
Was he gonna save that seagull that was in the little barrel there? Because that's what I thought he was gonna do, or was it already dead?
I think it
was
dead.
still alive. It was.
I thought it was still alive.
Moving
it was
around.
chirping.
Yeah, so I took it he was gonna save the seagull, and then the seagull fucks him. He's like, "Well, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah.
So the seagull started everything.
Have you ever been?
That was quite the rage.
What is this question?
Have you ever been slapped over a tall tale? Oh, tall tales. You don't kill a seabird. You ever been slapped about that?
I've never been slapped.
That scene really caught me off guard because it was quiet, and then he
yeah.
Great acting from Willem Dafoe because he was something don't worry about me, and then he was sitting there and his fork was shaking in his hand
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah, I don't think any of us had that experience. Have you?
I've never been slapped over a tall tale.
No.
I've
But
been slapped, but not over a tall tale.
Yeah, no one's just
I
telling me
believe you've been
story and slap, but yeah, like as far as I was saying, non-spoilers, I just think the story to me was very basic as far as it's just two men, they go crazy, you learn that they're criminals. It's a fun little mystery because you both know something's wrong, so it's like peeling back. But at the end of the day, it's just like I just didn't feel it was.
Are they criminals?
Well,
The one was supposedly.
yeah. Robert Pattinson saw that guy die, but then they insinuate that he maybe murdered him. That's how I took it, especially in the last fight. He like sees the guy because Willem Dafoe even says that like, or did ye try not to save thee or something like that. It's like okay, and then Pattinson, that's when he snaps. So it's like okay, so clearly they're insinuating that because who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you can take it multiple ways, but I definitely don't like from what it could have been said, and I just could not have understood the words. But I didn't know they were criminals.
Willem Dafoe's not, but he's a shady guy who's lied about his entire life, right? And no, he is a criminal because he killed that it's all alleged, but he said he found the old lighthouse keeper and you killed them. I found his head, and then Willem Dafoe's like, and he starts to get all like worked up. So they both throw accusations at each other.
He's
and
kind of crazy at that point, anyway.
They are, but that's to me
he's
where
already
it's like,
witnessed like a mermaid on the.
in my opinion, when
ground.
we talk about no spoilers, I won't say anything specific, but when we talk about a certain character once upon a time in Hollywood, and we're kind of like, yeah, he's probably a criminal. That's how I feel about these two.
Yeah.
Like they've both murdered people and they've been put on this rock together, and it's really unfortunate situations. And that's how I took it, is that they're both murderers.
I feel like it's kind of up for interpretation because at both times that they like accuse the other person of being a murderer, they're both going crazy at that point. So it's
exactly.
like how much can you trust the word of a crazy person, right? So.
Is it they're crazy
Yeah.
because like the lighthouse, or is it the accusation that's making them
Well,
crazy?
I think there's also like a potential storyline to it where Willem Dafoe, what's his name? His character's name's like Wick or something.
Thomas Wick or
Thomas Wick.
Thomas
Wick, and then
Tom
Winslow
Wick,
is
John Wick's brother.
Winslow is Pattinson's name. Wick and Winslow.
or just the lad. Do you not call me lad
It's like
these last 2 weeks?
Alfred Winslow or something like
I'll
that.
pull up
But
the
his
names.
real name is Thomas.
I think Wick
Yeah.
and Winslow is a good way to differentiate it. But what I was going to say is I think there's also a potential storyline where Wick is gaslighting him the whole time. Like he's just
I had those thoughts in the back of my mind because especially
like combine that with potential like drugging him.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely had that thought in the back of my mind. I wasn't sure if that was the route that they were going because when he's talking about like how do you know you're not in Canada right now, like walking around like just basically frostbitten, all these things. It's just like you're just fucking with this guy that's already so down the
100%.
hole.
Yeah. It's
So-
Thomas Wake, by the way.
Thomas
So
Wake.
Wake and
Oh,
Winslow.
wow.
Yep. So no
Did
sequel.
you guys feel
no
like
crossover
Robert
for you?
Pattinson had an inconsistent accent in this movie?
I definitely thought that. I'm not gonna lie.
It's so hard
Like
to tell.
obviously
with the
when
speeches.
when he's in rage mode, you can understand how his voice would come off a bit different.
Yeah.
But I felt like even in calm scenes, he had like different accents.
No, definitely.
sometimes.
There's I
And
definitely.
maybe that's fitting to the character.
Well,
but-
he is he is faking a life, right? So maybe that's supposed to go with it. But I didn't find it too noticeable. But
There's a
don't know.
couple
It was only a
times.
couple
There was
moments.
one when he was a little bit calmer, and then one when they were like drinking. I just felt like he was
Right.
just talking as Robert Pattinson, and I'm like, again, I guess you could lean on like the argument that like, oh, he's just faking that
Yeah.
life, or I don't know, maybe
yeah,
Mr.
and
Pattinson.
I
just
can't even
screwed up.
really remember what his voice sounds like in general because it's been so long since
It's
I've seen a
very,
movie of
very
his.
light. It's very light. Yeah.
So
And
there was a
British.
couple moments where I got that tone where it's like, oh, that's just Robert Pattinson's
Yeah.
voice, and then sometimes where he was.
Willem Dafoe though, 100%. He was
he was
the
on it,
lighthouse
on it like a
keeper.
bonnet, yeah. He was back to formula.
He's somewhat of a scientist himself. So yeah, where
Well, I wanted to draw another comparison because I think the Midsummer is one movie I'd compare it to. Another one would be a movie that me and Travis both compared Midsummer to on our review of Mother, which is just this really strange movie that is more symbolic than it does have like actual content or like a progressive story or actual characters. This has more actual characters to it with names and whatnot, but I think those two are fitting for recent examples. And another one that it kind of reminded me of is In the Mouth of Madness, a John Carpenter movie, which I don't know. Do you know when that's from? Is it
When it's from?
Yeah, like what year or even
Oh
what
boy,
decade? Is it 70s
I feel
or
like
90s?
I feel like it's 70s. Let me look
Yeah,
up.
you
I
wanna
feel
look
like
up?
it's before Halloween, but maybe I'm wrong.
Either way, that's a really good movie. I just watched it like a few months ago for the first time. I really recommend it.
I've
but
not seen that in so long.
I really enjoyed it, and the way it kind of reminded me.
No, it's 1994. Really,
94,
with
yeah.
Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I remember
yeah.
when you were talking about that.
Yeah, I think I brought it up in the
Yeah.
chat.
90s.
Definitely
really?
recommend checking that one out. But the way it reminded me of, I guess I won't say too much because I think you guys should go watch it without my spoilers. But is like the pacing of it in that you kind of have a scene of just like a very regular scene. Like maybe there's a couple things off. For the most part, it's just characters kind of talking, or maybe there's something weird going on overarching. But like for this particular scene, it's pretty normal. And then the next scene is just like really over the top, like really intense, really weird, loud, like really intense noises right in your ear. That's really contrasting how light the previous scene was. And then it's just like a zigzag of that. Like the pacing is just those two things back and forth, like from start to finish. So that's kind of how In the Mouth of Madness is, and it makes you feel like really unsettled in those scenes where it's just like really strange, like really gross imagery, just back and forth with loud noises. So it just is kind of like annoying and just attacks your senses, and then just really calm. So I don't know. I guess it doesn't feel like it is like longer sequences. It's just like that zigzag pattern. So I definitely got that vibe as well. And I don't know. How do you guys feel with the pacing? Because as I mentioned, non-spoilers, like I feel like every scene is like a bit too long and kind of added up.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I liked it a lot less than you guys. It sounds like, but I was pretty out of it for a good amount, just because I felt the pacing was kind of off.
Yeah, I'm more on your side with that. I'm not sure what Taylor is. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but there was times where I was like wandering off. I can agree. I don't know even if it's the scenes all being longer. I don't know if it was the context of the scenes, because I liked most of the dialogue that they were having. But yeah, it was quite slow, but it's a slow where I didn't enjoy, where it's a lot of, especially they do a lot of him doing housekeep on the lighthouse, and I get that it's like a progression. You see that he's getting more worn down, he's getting like more angry, so I get it, but it just was, it's kind of one of those where
we see a few times of him like bringing rocks in a wheelbarrow, and then it goes wrong. We see it like probably 3 or 4 times.
It's some of those, like the films you refer to, sometimes I think they just all suffer. We talk about Midsommar on our review, check that out. It's just sometimes you feel like they hit the point over the head a few times where it's like, get what they're going for. So yeah, I think the pacing was fine because it was under 2 hours, but it was definitely slow, and I definitely found myself like not engaged all the time, because I was like, okay, I know what we're doing here. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You guys have thoughts on pacing?
I was gonna go last because I just assumed I'd be the most positive.
Yeah, I didn't mind the pacing at all. Like as I was watching it, like I didn't know how to feel, but I was totally into this film. Like I was absorbed by it and totally into it. When I was sitting in the theater, I thought, oh, an hour 50, this is gonna be a fucking like 5-week scenario or whatever. But
yeah, I was feeling like it was 5 weeks. By the time that line comes up in the movie, it's like very close to the end, I feel like.
When we got to the theater, I just like went and like checked in with Taylor. He's like, "Do you know this movie's an hour and 50 minutes?" And I'm like, I have no idea if you're talking about a positive way or a negative way.
I was implying it was a negative. Yeah.
But
then that being said, like I feel like the movie was total like over really quick. And it ended sooner than I thought, and I was just, I was in it, and I thought, like, I don't know when the ending is coming along here, like, it's just going fucking crazy. It's just, I don't think it had any pacing problems. I didn't mind seeing, like, multiple scenes of him, like, wheeling the wheelbarrow, because, like, he was just getting more, like, worse and worse and worse, and just decreasing.
And the storm is kind of getting more intense throughout it.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Taylor for the most part. There's definitely, like, I'd say like a handful of scenes where I'm like, this is kind of dragging on, and then it definitely could have ended sooner. But I'd have like, unlike Dylan, where he thinks it would be like every scene. I just think it would be a handful of scenes that hit me, whereas like this is kind of a little bit too long. But for the most part, I just took it as like just a slow burn and like a slow just turn into madness, and I was just along for the ride. Like basically everyone said, I just loved like him wheeling that wheelbarrow. It's just pouring rain, so miserable, and like just hit, like the growth of frustration every time you would see like Willem Dafoe just doing dick all.
He had a broken leg. Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Just seeing him at the top of the lighthouse fucking starfishing.
That was easily one of my favorite scenes of the entire film.
Like
when he looks
the
up,
goop is like coming through that grate too.
Oh, he's just like embracing the light, and that was definitely a moment I laughed out loud. I don't know if you guys heard me, but
that goop. Now was that man goop, or is that like?
I took it as it's a bit of both.
Well, I thought it was seed, but then some fucking octopus shit was going on, so I don't even know anymore.
I thought there was like the wind outside, but you could hear like the fap noise, and like it's just you could hear.
I mean,
him
he was
going
hands
like,
free though, right?
What's that?
I was assuming he was
at that
hands
point,
free.
all you can see is his feet, because this is the scene when he's underneath him, right?
But that's the thing for me, like whether it's man goop or it's
he's
like,
just gotten that good.
God tier of masturbation. Or it's like some just like squid goop. I just think that's the problem. Not the problem, but I think that's the thing of the story is it's an unreliable narrator. So it's just raw pass and like in his mind he's fucked a mermaid a few times, and then they show it's masturbation. But like same thing with Willem Dafoe. It's like, has he imagined that Willem Dafoe is up there and he's making love to himself, or is there an actual squid type of monster up there? It's like you're never really gonna know. And also Willem Dafoe, it's not like, if he was just a purely normal guy, you'd go, it's probably for sure in Pattinson's head. But Dafoe's not a normal guy, so maybe he is up there dropping stuff. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And masturbation's a big thing in this movie.
Well,
So.
that I mean, I kind of like just thinking about like the ending when Robert Pattinson goes up to the lighthouse and it kind of opens up. Like, is that all just in his mind? Because
maybe.
Yeah.
Him getting to the lighthouse?
Well, when he gets to the lighthouse and it opens
the
up.
Pulp Fiction moment.
Yeah,
where it's like,
exactly. And like it
Yeah.
opens up and he's just totally going. Like, is that in his head or is there actually something weird with the
fucking
lighthouse?
knows?
Exactly.
Well,
it's
that's
up
the
for
same thing.
interpretation.
I think it's in his head because I think they set up that he's clearly maybe a disturbed individual, and he said like, I just wanted to start over and stuff like that. So it feels like he may have had a psychotic break in the past, and then he tries a new life. Like, it's going to work out this time, and then it doesn't again. And
He picked the wrong scenario to have a fresh break.
Well, he just thought it was gonna be 4 weeks, though, right? He was just gonna make something.
5 weeks.
He set his job. He set his life right. He had no goals of having a huge job. Like, he wants enough to make money where he could eventually retire, right? But he didn't even mention a wife or kids or even a job that he loved. Just enough money to work up to maybe make like $1,000 a month, and then be able to.
I think it's $1,000 a year.
Yeah, $1,000 a year, and live on that. And he's a happy man. So clearly, he wants a simple life. So him just working at this lighthouse for 4 weeks would have been fine. But I think him being secluded on a place for so long, plus with someone that's kind of a aggressor, like someone that's looking to poke the bear, and Willem Dafoe pushed him over the edge again. In my head canon, I feel like he's broken before, and this him again, and then now he's gone because he stumbled off the lighthouse and he got killed by seagulls in a very poetic
I
poetic
think you're
fashion.
right. I think he definitely was broken at one point, and then he tried to recoup and then broke again, obviously, in this. Because, I mean, if it was me, I feel like this is like a prime area to kind of like bunker down and get cozy and just kind of hang out. You're with some other guy that you can
but this guy who's farting all the time. You're a fart. You're a fart.
See, that's where Taylor would be the Willem Dafoe guy. He's the one farting. He's the one guy.
100%. Yeah, and like he does a job in our perspective perfectly, and then you have Willem Dafoe there watching him, and then he breaks again when he gets his little book, and pretty much Willem Dafoe makes it sound like he was not a good worker and very lazy, and he mentions about him masturbating, and it's just like
dock your wages.
Yeah, like what was
drinking on shift.
What was his conclusion? It was like laying it off, but without pay.
It's severance without pay.
Severance without pay.
Just fucking savage.
Yeah. So it's like at that point, maybe he could have just been a normal guy, but yeah, he was pushed the edge. If it was a nice guy on that rock,
part
then
of me
maybe.
was wondering if it's supposed to be a cyclical thing, like Defoe killed. Maybe the guy he killed was like the previous lighthouse keeper, you know, the senior guy, and then Robert Pattinson kills him, and then it's just supposed to keep going. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
We don't know the solid answer, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just want to touch upon like the narrative you were talking about, where Robert Pattinson gets there, and like he's already a broken man, so he's already like very susceptible to just mentally ill.
Yeah, like what if he imagines Defoe? What if that's not an actual person?
There's 100% chance.
Yeah, well, because the counter argument that I was thinking for like what makes Robert Pattinson a broken man, but like Willem Dafoe is doing so many weird things as well. So if he is a made up person, I guess
it could be either way.
I guess that could
be making up the other guy.
That is 100% true. But then who would be doing all the chores? It definitely wasn't Willem Dafoe.
Well, you don't know that the chores are really getting done.
Oh, that's just going deeper and deeper. I like this.
Like the floors were never really scrubbed, were they?
Well, that's another thing. So when Willem Dafoe was freaking out about the floors being scrubbed, like shiny as a sperm whale's pecker,
Taylor's favorite line.
Was he referring to the fact that Robert's character got man goop on the floor? Was that what he's referring to? Because we had that first scene where he obviously had that
they
moment.
Use the word man goop first of all.
Well, I don't know what else to call it. Really,
semen.
Sperm.
They are they're semen. I don't want to confuse people in terms of the fact that
They're not
semen
got
their semen.
They're lighthouse keepers.
They got their semen.
But yeah, I thought that throughout that whole moment, Willem Dafoe walked in and saw this goop on the floor. Like, Robert Pattinson, you clean up this floor, make it as shiny as a sperm whale's pecker.
I kind of thought that too. I'm usually on Taylor's wavelength, but I thought that was. I don't think maybe Willem Dafoe knows that, but I think as the audience we're supposed to infer that maybe it's like that, like, oh, what does he know? What does he know? So
There's
I think
probably always something on that floor.
Yeah, but I think
the shingles don't work.
I think
and they're fucking pissing and shitting right there.
I did take it as a shot that like, oh, maybe Willem Dafoe heard him masturbating, so it's just like, oh, make sure those floors are clean, boy.
Yeah.
Just like some like dad hazing, and it's like, all right, this is kind of weird.
Dad
So
hazing.
that's how I
Yes.
took it.
Dad joke.
I took it as he's just super anal, like captain or whatever. He's like this, like you did the job, but you didn't do it the way it was supposed to be done, so you're
Yeah.
gonna redo it.
I'm a hard worker. I
Yeah.
liked when he put his foot down to Willem Dafoe, but then Willem Dafoe just put him in his place.
Oh yeah, there's lots of putting in places and whatnot.
It's
lot
so
of
funny too because there's so many moments where Willem Dafoe is just totally, almost like the Red Foreman. If you've seen that '70s show, just
Yeah, he
total
is.
hard ass and just like, yeah, you did it, but you didn't do it the way it was supposed to be done. And then like Robert Pattinson just getting more pissed off at this guy, and like he just seems like a tyrant almost. But then when they're sitting down to eat, he just seems like such a friendly guy. He just wants to drink with him. He's just such a great character. That like that's yeah. I just loved Willem Dafoe in this film.
He was
He's just
great.
He
so
is
wild.
hilarious. Like, yeah, just that when he's just yelling at Robert Pattinson, he's kind of scrunching in the corner when he's super drunk. That fucking camera angle, right? Like the
Yeah.
shading that goes upwards onto like his eyes
Yeah.
covering like his eyelids underneath are kind of covering his eyes.
It
It's
looked
goddamn
like it was
terrifying.
just like all like dark, and then obviously it's black and white, but like all you could really see was like his eyes and then like the shadow of his nose and just his
Yeah.
teeth, and he just I don't even think he blinked like more than once
And he
during that
nailed
entire
line,
yeah,
that whole monologue.
the whole monologue
one
was
take.
just so good, and like even at the end he's
Even,
just
like,
like
his frazzled
shaking.
hair, like, it's all
Yeah,
there.
he's just shaking. He's just so mad, and then Robert Pattinson's just like, have it your way. It was okay. It was all right. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But like he's just so I don't know. I think he just embodied that crazy lighthouse keeper so well.
He really
Hundred
did.
percent.
And
I-
yeah,
Oh, sorry, you're gonna say something
I
else?
was not going to.
Okay. Another scene I liked of Willem Dafoe actually was when Robert Pattinson was going out and he was pushing the boat out, and just behind you see him limping behind with the axe, and he's like, "You can't leave me here!" And then he starts swinging into the boat, and then like I just love the
Yeah.
filming because it reminds me of The Shining.
Oh,
Robert's
in that
running,
one
and
moment,
then
yeah.
he's like limping with the axe or whatever, and he stumbles through the door, and then. I can't even remember what happened right after that. I feel like it just transitioned to him waking up and everything was fine.
He drilled the axe into the
The boat.
Table.
into the table.
yeah, table, yeah.
like
Oh
when they
yeah,
got to
yeah,
the-
and then he was like, "Yeah, you tried chasing me with that axe." Totally throws it on Robert Pattinson. I'm like, "Whoa, you are really fucking
See,
with this guy."
Yeah, that's where the moment when that moment happened, that's where I kind of had the thoughts if he was gaslighting him in like the back of my mind, because I'm like, man, like he's going hard because he's basically messing with this guy who's already just super mentally unstable at that time. Told him that he was the one chasing with an axe, so he's just totally questioning it, and that's where he led into like, how do you know you're even here right now? How do you know if I'm a
Yeah.
real person? So definitely was just feeding like the theory if it was a
Yeah,
gaslighting thing.
Definitely.
How did you feel on that scene when Willem Dafoe Robert Pattinson got to the top and he walked around the top of the lighthouse, I think, or maybe it was just the next level below, but like he walked around, he saw this body on the ground, and it was him. When he turns around, then you get the scene of Willem Dafoe shine the lighthouse light on him, and he's full naked. How'd you feel with that?
I was very,
I think it just makes you feel uneasy.
yeah.
Just like the one moment when he's punching Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe turns into a mermaid with his hair all done up, and he has like the shells on like his
Yeah.
breast, and it was
Oh
like
yeah,
that was some
Just
crazy,
barnacles all over him.
he
crazy
totally
ass
made
imagery.
out with him too.
Yeah, it's a crazy ass imagery. Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you feel?
I don't think there's
I-
any. I don't think it's a way
I've-
to describe how it makes you feel.
I feel like I didn't have like time to comprehend what was going on.
Right.
It was more of just like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
That certainly
feel
happened.
happy or unsettled.
Uneasy,
Yeah.
I'd say for myself.
Yeah.
The only other shot I'd like to shout to is when he buries Defoe. Really well
Oh my
done.
gosh,
I'm
so
hoping.
amazing.
I imagine they didn't use like full on dirt, but the way they shot that, just like every shovel goes into his like his beard, and it's just like going up on him. Taylor's trying not to laugh, but yeah, I really liked the whole lead up that, especially because he's walking him out like a dog. He has like a
Oh yeah.
leash on him. He
Come on,
throws him
boy.
in. Yeah, and then he realizes gets the keys. Then later on, Defoe just comes and just axes him in the shoulder. Like, obviously that's the ending part, so it was quite a crescendo. But I really like the imagery of just the shot of Defoe's face and
Yeah,
like
that was a
slowly
good shot.
more
Yeah,
dirt and more
no,
dirt.
That's one scene I wanted to shout out because at the beginning, like he's just shoveling it and it's kind of going on his like on his chest, on his upper body. Not
Defoe's
hit,
yelling away.
yeah,
Ah.
not hitting his neck his neck and up, but like you said, he just keeps talking. And I'm like, okay, so they're intentionally, don't want to get into his face because he's talking. And then the next one just right in the mouth. He kind of like blows it out, kind of tasting it, keeps talking, and then it just more and more like up his nose. It looked like.
Oh yeah.
I love that scene. It was just so authentic, and I'm like, man, I hope they shot that in one take.
Oh yeah.
I totally forgot about that scene. Like when he stood over Willem Dafoe and was like bark, bark, and he's like woof, like that made me laugh. And then I thought, when Robert came out with the rope, I thought, oh, for the love of God, don't be crawling like a dog, because I'm gonna laugh. And I had to bite my hand in the theater because he came out on all fours. They're like, come dog. And I'm like, oh no, I can't handle it. I was laughing. And he's just crawling like a fucking dog. And then, he goes into the fucking the pit, and I don't know. I thought he died, but I was hoping he didn't. And then I laughed even more when Robert was in, like, the room or whatever, and all of a sudden, the light is mine! And he just swings in, fucking shanks him with the axe in his shoulder. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, even afterwards, like, when Robert Pattinson just, like takes care of him, and, like, he's actually dead, because that was a solid kill confirmed.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, when he was just standing there, kind of, like, thinking about what happened, you just see, like, the blood pouring out of his shoulder. I'm like, man, this isn't going to end well for this character. Yeah, no, that was definitely a memorable scene.
He didn't make it much longer than that.
No, he didn't.
He went up, kind of tripped out, and then fell down the stairs. And then he ended up outside. What happened there?
Yeah,
what happened there?
That's a question mark.
Birds
Maybe they dragged him out.
Yeah.
They tied a
He was,
rope
like,
around his
completely
neck.
naked too.
Yeah, who knows? Well, maybe the mermaid and his. Maybe that's an insinuation that maybe if you want to go with the route that stuff was real, maybe there's a real mermaid and took him out there and had her way with him. So
Maybe.
Yeah.
maybe how did he get naked?
What do you guys think of the mermaid and the squid stuff?
It was fun. I wanted more of it, to be honest. I think that's the thing when we're talking.
God.
Yeah. When we're talking about like these scenes, these are the scenes I really like, and that's the thing. Unfortunate thing that the whole movie's not like that. Like Curran says, it's a slow burn, so it's kind of you couldn't have the whole movie like that. But that's the thing. If I watch this movie again, I can feel myself for like the first hour 20 being like kind of watching it and out, but then I know the ending I really like and all the stuff we talked about. But I liked it. It was fun imagery. Obviously they set up the doll, so he's like imagining this, and I liked the imagery of she felt just very, and they did a good job, just like very magical, very otherworldly, just like with the seaweed and just her expressions, and she looked like a mermaid. And I loved when he was really masturbating furiously. But I loved the quick shots of everything, because it was like you're trying to understand what's going on, and then like all of a sudden the mermaid's on top of him. Like that's what I liked. I wanted more trippy weirdness. I think that's the thing where I would have enjoyed this film a bit more, is if that was sprinkled a little bit more. Not even to make the movie longer, just maybe replace some stuff with that, or I don't know, because I liked that imagery and that stuff fun.
I think I would have to agree with you on that, because there's a quick question. Was there only one trailer, or was there two?
There's two trailers.
Okay, yeah, because
I've only seen one.
Because one seemed a little bit more comedic, and then the other trailer I watched, it seemed a little bit more serious. And then I swear in that trailer they showed like Willem Dafoe with like tentacles or something. So
in one of the trailers they show the scene where he's punching Dafoe and there's the tentacles over him, and then one trailer they do show. I don't know if they show the mermaid, but they showed her tail in the water, so it's to show like, something weird's going on.
I think I would agree with you on like what you said, where I would want a little bit more of that just trippy weirdness stuff, whether it's the tentacles or just more of the mermaid stuff, where it's not necessarily that they're there, but it's just he's seeing it. Like it's more just he's definitely mentally unstable and just seeing random shit. Just quickly talking about the mermaid. Yeah, I love the quick shot when they show like the mermaid vagina. Yeah. Something I never pictured in my life, and I didn't think it was possible, but now I know that
it's pretty big.
Yeah, it was
wide set.
And no, I love that though, when he was just. I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but that scene when he's just in the shed, just
cranking,
gripping it and ripping it with his
hammering away.
Yeah.
Hammering it away. Yeah, I like that term. But yeah, just totally. And then like when he's like breaking down, when he throws the idol, whatever you'd call it, the little.
I like idol. That's a good word.
When he throws the idol, he's just like bawling. I don't know why. I just love that scene when he's just like. Because he's just getting poured on. He's basically like 75% naked.
Yeah, and you have the lighthouse going around, so it's like he's like in the nude and he's in the dark, but then it like hits him.
Yeah,
and I love I think they did a good job of that too in the movie, of making the lighthouse feel like the third character. Because I love that scene where he is outside and he screams and they time it with the horn. But I just love that it was like you could make the way that there is something in the lighthouse making these guys go nuts, and you could take just a supernatural aspect. But I like that it was just this thing that's always things that are happening are always around the lighthouse that are really bad. And I think they did a good job. And I liked that the sound was always going. It always felt like it was a presence and you couldn't escape, like ISR style. It's just the lighthouse is always there, you know, and it's reminding them that we're stuck on this fucking island,
totally.
you know, because you get hit with this light and you're like, oh right, I'm here.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Where the lighthouse definitely felt just like the third character in the film. I mean, I guess you see 2 other lighthouse keepers at the very beginning, but other than that, those are the 3 characters.
They were fine. They didn't get fucking mermaid sex.
They were only there for
idols.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
For 4 weeks.
But yeah, I just love basically the whole film, just hearing like that horn going off.
Yeah.
It just felt like
Constant.
just like I feel like for like just hearing that for 4 weeks, like that would make you go crazy. Just
100%,
hearing that
yeah.
noise, and then especially they just put so much emphasis on the light, and it felt like another character. So I just thought that was done so well.
The light is mine. It'll never get old. I have to say though,
I wish I had as much fun during the movie as like we're just talking about these things in retrospect.
Yeah.
so many good references to this movie.
I reckon there is, Taylor.
I reckon so. There, the amount of like tentacle porn and like all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
feel like-
that audience is real happy.
Oh yeah.
Any people that grew up with Little Mermaid as little boys, like, oh, I love Ariel.
man.
This is the movie. That's who I'd
They've
recommend
grown
it
up
for.
all right.
See,
Oh yeah.
When I grew up watching that, I'm like, that's just impossible because I don't
No.
think there is a mermaid vagina. But now I know.
Anything's possible.
Now you know.
Bigger than ever.
It's
Uh,
bigger than
Yeah, I think that there was just probably the perfect amount, I guess, of that kind of stuff and mermaid sex in this
Mermaid-
movie.
I
don't
think maybe
I
too
needed,
much for Taylor Field.
Yeah, there was a little too much. I don't think I needed more. Like, I think, from what I saw, like, it's okay. I was not expecting to see, like, him on top of the mermaid just fucking pile driving it into her. or
That's not what a
whatever,
pile driver is, but go ahead. Continue.
But yeah, it just it totally blew me away, and like the quick
Ayo.
scene
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
blew
yeah,
me away
yeah.
too. The quick snippets like of him like transitioning to seeing her, and then like him like hammering, and then him squeezing the idol, and
he
then
breaks it. He breaks it. He squeezes it so hard.
Well, no, he
remember?
thought
throws
it's
it on the
because he
ground, then he
threw it.
stabs it with his
Stabs
knife.
it.
then.
Right, he
But,
does.
But
Which
yeah,
I
and
feel
then
like wouldn't really work as you would expect it to.
I don't
Like
think
I feel like
so.
it would just kind of slip out. No,
I would think it
it's
would.
really wet in there too. Like
It
was,
is wet.
it
It's
was
very
soaking
slippery.
Wet.
Yeah, man
He,
goop all over the place.
man
Sand goop,
He
water.
it's weird too because I'm pretty sure he was like transitioning, like the scenes were cutting out between the mermaid, him hoofing it, and then the guy,
Hoofing.
the real Winslow
his
that he might have
synonyms.
killed, right? Because he
Yeah,
popped
he
in there
was getting
briefly.
shot-
I'm like,
that guy-
where is this guy coming from while he's jerking it, And then he like
Yeah.
finishes. It's like, well, this is fucked up.
So this is one thing.
Yeah.
Brian Fuller, who is the showrunner of Hannibal, he does this thing every Halloween. Then he posts like 31 images of the day in the month of October of like that he finds scary with no explanation. Some about just the look of that lighthouse keeper that he killed. That was like the really white hair with the little white stash, and like when he was finding Dafoe and the way he just like popped up, the way he just popped up, it was scary. I don't know why. He's just a regular dude, but that has stuck with me since I've seen the
Was
movie,
that
along
the-
with the Little Mermaid.
Was that
stuff.
the lighthouse keeper, or was that Thomas? What's his face?
Well, that's sorry.
thought
Yeah,
it
right.
was
Not it was the
Winslow.
guy that
Yeah,
was the guy that he
Winslow.
killed. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I misspoke. I forgot he was not also a lighthouse
Alleged.
keeper. Yeah.
Alleged.
Yeah, alleged. But yeah, the guy he killed. And it was just like it was so scary because he was not comedic. He was always looking at Patterson, just like very just. Oh, that's gonna stick with me for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Sorry, you're gonna say something?
You seemed like you were gonna.
I had
lose
an
it, so
interesting
just say it.
analogy, but I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I want to hear it.
It's like when you find a mermaid on the beach.
Well, it made me think like if you were Robert Pattinson or someone was like watching it or like using his phone or something like that, and and he's like pretend the phone is the idol. He's watching the idol,
Mhm.
Okay.
and then these
I know where
text
you're
messages
going.
keep popping up, but it's fucking Winslow popping up while he's trying to like.
I get what you're saying.
I don't.
Taylor's saying that he has once masturbated to someone on his phone, and then Dylan has texted him saying, "Hey, what's up, man?" That's what he's kind of insinuating.
I did not insinuate that.
That's
but I
exactly
have-
what you just insinuated. That's the
Well,
story.
not myself because I've seen
a
this-
friend, right? A
He's-
friend.
yeah,
Right,
a friend of
right.
mine.
Yeah, doctor, a friend of mine. He has a
I've-
rash
I've
all over
seen
his
that-
leg.
I've seen them make jokes about this in
oh,
TV shows.
Oh, I've seen them make
Yeah.
jokes. Yeah,
Getting
you've
back
seen
to the
some
film.
stuff.
That so Winslow, the actual Winslow, like in that
Lost, white-haired, scary Winslow.
yeah, in that exact same in that exact same scene when they're just like wrestling, and then he sees Winslow in that moment. I kind of took it from that moment where. Like from that moment on, I kind of took it as Robert Pattinson actually did murder him because
that's was
because like when he was seeing him, I felt like it might have just triggered that like memory of like doing that evil act, and like the look in Winslow's eyes is just like it looked like the eyes of a victim, not
Yeah.
like an accident. So I don't know if that was intended. Like
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
That was the full on, because they kept showing him from the back at first,
Yeah.
and because the way he told the story was he saw him and he couldn't save him, and he could have. There was a chance he could have saved him, but he turned around and left. So at first you're thinking, oh, he's a coward. So that's it. But you just see him from behind, and then eventually as the film you see his face, and then I took the same way that you did when you saw him in that scene.
Yeah.
And he's about to murder Dafoe. It's like, oh, he's done this before.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's how I took it, and it was frightening. Frightening.
Oh,
I
for
need to
sure.
find out who the actor is. He's not listed. It's just those two and the mermaid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's a
Um,
mermaid? You know what I mean?
I'm sure I can play it. Yeah.
So another scene, which was something I was kind of waiting for just from the trailers, was like the spill your beans moment.
Spill your beans.
Yeah, because like the first time Willem Dafoe says it, they're actually just like drinking. I think it was after they've been like almost kissing and like dancing and all that wildness was going on.
They
And they get in the
almost
fight.
kiss.
They get in the fight,
Yeah.
and then the next time you cut to him, they're like laying on the
Yeah,
ground.
he's
with each
laying
other.
down, and then like he starts to say something. And Willem Dafoe's like, "Don't spill your bean," or like I forget
You
specifically.
spilled your beans. Something.
No, but like even before he hears what he says, he's like, "Careful, like don't spill your beans to me," because
your beans.
maybe it's one of those moments I just totally misunderstood what he was saying, because like we already said, it's kind of hard to understand without subtitles 100% what they're talking about. But I don't know why, I thought I heard where it was like, don't say what you're about to say to me because it'll just not equal something good.
You ever
Did,
spilled
did
your
anyone else
beans?
hear it that way or no?
Nope.
Okay. Dylan, no.
I took it as a way because I did think Defoe was a little sketchy, of almost like a con artist's advice to another con artist. Because the
okay.
second he would give him that advice, Defoe would have something over him. So it was like, oh, wait, don't
I
tell
see.
me.
Yeah.
The second you tell me, I can use this against you. And that's how I took it, of like a former potential murderer just like
I see. Yeah.
drunk, vulnerable, saying, don't do this because I wouldn't do this. And he does do it, and then Willem Dafoe uses against him
Yeah.
later on. So
No,
yeah.
for sure. And then like, I'm trying to think of like how it happened in the order, but was it from that moment it kind of skipped to like that hallway scene, and then you just hear like Willem Dafoe?
Spill your beans.
Yeah.
I think it
Why'd
was.
you
Yeah,
spill your
because I was
beans?
wondering, like, why is this placed in this part? And it didn't
Yeah.
really tell me, but I take it as
It just skipped
the
to
director
that.
had some reason putting
Yeah.
it there. So this is definitely a movie I would like to watch with a commentary track by the director as well. And I'm not
100%.
usually in the commentary tracks. I listen to them lightly, but
It'd be interesting to hear his justifications for
Yeah.
anything and everything.
I'm wondering if the
Gripping and
director
ripping
is
it.
the guy that plays the Winslow, the guy he killed. Because, yeah, no one else listens, just those two and the mermaid. So I wonder if there's a chance he put on some hair and makeup and whatnot. So, but yeah. Look at the mermaid
They
has
could've.
no IMDb picture. Her name
Because
is
I don't think-
Valerie Carman.
Ooh,
Carman.
what's up, Valerie Carman?
Mm.
What was I gonna say? Because I feel like the two guys at the beginning, like the previous, I don't
Yeah.
know if you see their face at any point.
No,
so they could
no, I
have
don't
just
think
been
so.
anybody. Could have been the gaffer.
I thought it was
in
funny too
guard.
that like they don't even acknowledge like the other crew. Like they don't even look up. They just walk
Nope.
right by them. It's
Yeah,
not
maybe
like
they never
it's not like
existed,
good luck.
right?
This is what happened. I left the shitter clogged. You know, just give you a breakdown. Like taking over the shift. It was just like no.
the shitter clog, just a bucket.
Yeah.
That would be quite the achievement.
I like too when right at the very beginning when Robert Pattinson's kind of getting in there, he has a smoke, and then you just hear something, and you're like, well, I wonder what that is. And then he goes and investigates, and then sure enough, it's just Willem Dafoe having the longest piss of his life.
yeah, yeah.
Finishes with a nice fart.
Just kicks them under the bed.
I did enjoy that scene when I think after the storm blew through the window and Robert Pattinson's like, this place is a pigsty, and Willem's like, well, good morning to you too, or whatever. And then you see like the bucket is floating and he's peeing into the bucket
yeah.
as it's floating.
That was funny. He missed a
Oh.
little bit, and then he just pukes
And
everywhere.
he pukes everywhere and falls in. It's so gross.
Then he picks up the book, and there you go.
The rest is history.
Rest is
Yeah.
history.
I don't know. Do you have were you gonna say something?
Uh,
You had a good inhale there, like you're about
no.
to say.
No,
Just
I don't have much to say about this movie.
another scene, just memorable scene I want to mention, so I don't forget it. I don't think I mentioned it on cast. Was just when he's taking out like the shit buckets, and like just like it easily could have just been like him go outside and then just toss it. But I like that he was like super careful. He's like bouncing on the rock,
I
like
thought he was gonna slip. For
yeah.
sure.
Oh no, for sure. And then it's just like this little like travel sequence where he's getting to the moment, finally gets to it, just toss it, hits him right in the face. Definitely worked for me. That
so
comp.
good. You remind me of another scene when Willem was lowering him when he was painting the
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
And
that
he
was
was just shouting like it's gonna be like super nice and grand and you've
Stay
done it. or
steady.
whatever.
Stay steady.
I am steady. I am steady. Trust me, Larry. And he falls.
yeah, I am steady.
Trust me, lad. It's so good. Oh,
was
he
great.
falls. And Willem Dafoe doesn't even do anything. He wakes up later and he's just lying on the grass.
He just left him.
What an
Oh, yeah.
asshole. Oh.
He would have been fine if he died there. So.
Yeah, no, that was a great scene. And then the other one I want to mention, I already did, was when he's just starfished in front of the light. I just love that too because I swear, like he like finds out Robertson Pattinson was like looking at him again. I might be
Robinson Patterson.
Robinson Pattinson.
It's been a long day apparently. I might be mixing up scenes here, but was it that scene where Robert Pattinson is? How do you have a photo of it? Did you take
I screenshot the trailer for my notes.
Oh, okay.
Send me that picture.
Yeah.
Put that in the group chat.
That's amazing. But like he like comes out of the light, puts on his jacket, and kind of like locks eyes with like Robert. Is it that same scene, or is it? Or am I thinking of a different one? Because there's obviously that one where he's starfished and just dead eye with the lighthouse, and then he comes out of it, and you see him like putting on his jacket,
Right,
and he's facing
that's
Robert
at the
Pattinson.
start of the movie.
Oh, okay.
The early
It's
on,
not. It's
right?
not the same scene then. I wasn't.
I think that's the same thing.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
I
for
can't
somehow he like knew that he was staring at him, and then he comes out, and then he's kind of putting on his jacket.
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that sounds familiar. But I can't say
Yeah.
if you're right or wrong.
Yeah, can't confirm nor deny.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't know because I know early on in the movie you get a shot of like inside. He's inside the lighthouse, and you just like, kind of see his face.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like squirreling out.
I just send the pictures. It's such a good picture.
That's easily my favorite
Starfishing.
scene. Easily my favorite scene of the whole movie. I'd
See,
have to
Legend,
say.
that's why I like the review, because talking about this movie has now made me, when it comes to Netflix, I'm gonna
Oh,
watch.
you didn't put it in the
rewatch
group
it.
chat?
No, I'm going to.
I want to check out that Starfish.
I got it first. Wolf Order for life, baby. Wolf Order come
you.
back
It's dropping
November
right now.
2nd. Yeah, I have no more notes on this movie. I just want to say that, yeah, actually talking about this movie has made me appreciate it a bit more. I think it's like I said earlier, it's just because those moments are, the wacky moments are a bit few and far in between. So I think maybe I'll enjoy it more at a second watch, knowing what's happening at home. But yeah.
Yeah,
good.
Is that gonna be your phone background, the starfish?
It might. It's so good.
Man,
And that
somebody- what the
fucking
fuck is
shot of him just naked with Robert Pattinson, that was such a wild scene. Like that one where it's like he's like holding, and then Robert Pattinson is watching a naked Willem Dafoe hold himself, and he's just like
Yeah.
bugging out.
So weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I think really I wanted to go see this movie. Like I don't even know if I've seen the full trailer. I think I watched like a 10 seconds of the trailer. I'm like, oh, this looks fucking weird. I want to go see it. So I didn't really have any spoilers from the trailer, but I think I really wanted to see this movie for Robert Pattinson, right? Just to get a little more reference on him as an actor past the young adult kind of era of the Harry Potters and the Twilights. So
It's interesting that
from that I'm very impressed.
It's
with his
interesting that you say
performance.
that you're more looking forward to Robert Pattinson because I was like, as soon as I saw Willem Dafoe, I'm like, I need to see this movie. And then when I heard that Robert Pattinson was in it, I'm like, oh, that'll be interesting, like dynamic between those two. But it wasn't Robert Pattinson that sold me on it. It was definitely just seeing like that one image of Willem Dafoe, and then he's I think the first, I don't know if it's like a teaser trailer, but it's the one where he's like,
How long have we? No.
fuck yeah, it's such a hard movie to quote because I don't even know 100%.
What's your favorite light quote, Taylor?
Mine? Fuck, the one I've defaulted to is how long we've been on this rock.
No.
5 weeks.
What's your new
That
one?
was
though?
the shiny
that one line though that you just said, that was the trailer.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the
trailer.
That's
Yeah,
how the
yeah.
first
Trailer.
one ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your new one with the
What?
light again? I always forget
the
it.
sperm whale and the shiny
Oh,
pecker.
Yeah.
my new go-to.
Yeah.
It's just when he bursts in. The night is mine.
It's hilarious too because
Oh.
you think he's dead and then he just
You
comes
do.
in.
You
full
better
swing,
use that November 2nd.
hits him right in the shoulder. Robert Pattinson barely reacts.
Should have put him
barely
on the
reacts.
Halloween polls.
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah, next
we
year
should just do a
he's in.
lighthouse poll.
Oh,
Just
lighthouse
all of them.
poll.
What?
Yeah.
Just 4 characters.
Yeah, 20 versions of them from
Lighthouse
different
versus
scenes.
Mermaid.
It's just the gif. The
Naked-
gif. Willem Dafoe
Naked,
gif will win.
naked Defoe versus Spill Your Beans
Spill your
Defoe.
beans.
Full spread.
His lobster dinner.
The full spread one's gonna win. You should have made that the thumbnail somehow. I know you couldn't have, but oh man, yeah. I already said this because I was a big fan. I'm very excited for Robert Pattinson. You guys will get to see him again next year in Tenet because he's in Nolan's movie. So you'll get to see how different an
That's
actor he is
awesome.
nowadays. He's just a fucking chameleon, and
Fucking chameleon.
he is. I've said this. I'm gone record. I think he's gonna become the best Batman. I think he's gonna surpass Bale and Affleck,
Ooh.
and yeah, that's big for me because I love Bale.
It's a bold
But
claim.
he just has that the juice. You know, he has
got the
something going
juice.
on, and Matt Reeves. So it's gonna gonna be good. I know lots of people have been saying that they want Willem Dafoe as Alfred, but I think after this, it might be a little too hard for me to see. I'm not opposed to it, but like,
I would watch that movie. Or sorry, I would watch this movie before the Batman movie.
Oh, it's a prequel.
Yeah, the day how Bruce and Alfred met. Yeah.
I have to say as well, I really enjoyed that
Light is
scene
mine.
when Robert Pattinson was carrying that heavy fucking oil drum all the way to the top. And
Oh,
Willem
yeah.
Dafoe was like, take it back down. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
What an ass.
He's like, next time use this. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, that was pretty rude.
I am out of notes.
I've been on this rock too long.
5 weeks, 2 days. Were they mixing oil with
Kerosene.
water?
No,
they're
they're
drinking kerosene?
because when they I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to just bring that up, but it was because they ran out of alcohol, so what they did is they defaulted to kerosene mixed with honey, and they were just getting fucked up off of it. And then by the end, when Robert Pattinson is going up to the lighthouse after he kills Willem Dafoe, he's just straight drinking kerosene. He's not even drinking. He's not even mixing with honey. So yeah,
God.
that'll definitely
Explanation for why he's going so.
that'll definitely
nuts.
make you a little bit more crazier.
I loved it when they were both at the bottom and they look up, they're like, whoa! Like just fucking going crazy. Jesus Christ.
I do not know what scene you're talking about, but
Remember, they were
Remember?
mixing it.
I don't remember what scene you're talking about. Remember?
Okay, so there was the first time they were mixing it together, and they're both sitting at the
okay,
bottom,
yeah.
and then the
Bottom of
shot
the
is like
lighthouse.
from like the top view, and they both look up. And they're like, oh!
yeah, just drinking kerosene, man.
Use that gif of
God.
Taylor.
Chugging kerosene.
Final thoughts or anything else to shout out?
Negative.
Final thoughts.
Going once, going twice, sold. I'll give this movie, this is tough. On a technical level, this is honestly like a 10 out of 10 movie. But for enjoyment level, it's tough because I need to see it again because we talked about these moments, but like I said, I've repeated it, but I'll say it again. I think they might be few and far in between or little chunks where you still got to watch the whole movie. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable, and like I said, we've talked about I will see it again, and maybe on a second watch again after we've talked about it, hearing some of these guys' notes, and then just even being at home feeling that, and just it's a slower paced movie, and just you know what's coming. So when you see, when one, you can maybe listen to the audio a bit better, and two, just seeing like, you know, naked Willem Dafoe, because there's many times in this movie I would have to be like, okay, what is happening here? Because you don't know exactly what's going on. So yeah, I'm gonna watch it again now. So that's why it's great to do these reviews. Yeah, a 7 out of 10 for me, because I was thinking about an 8, but I don't want to give that because an 8 is quite higher, and to me I did have quite a few, not problems with it, but it was just the enjoyment of times where I was like, I'm not the most in this. I know where we're going. I've been here, done that. Because yeah, the characters, you have stuff revealed, but really the characters, there's not much to gleam on, because other than them being fun and having some like stuff that's like we're laughing about, as far as characters, they're just kind of mysterious people. There's not anything I can really latch on to. So 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I don't know. What are my final thoughts? I'm shocked that that Midsummer ended up not being the strangest movie I've seen this year. I guess that's what I'll say. I'll give this movie 2 days out of 5 weeks.
There you go.
Nice. That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
The light is mine, Taylor Field.
The light is mine. The light is mine. This movie was just, I didn't know what I was in for, except just telling myself that I don't know what I'm in for when I go to see this movie. And yeah, it was just surprising me again and again and again. The stuff they were saying just felt so rustic and just hilarious, and I loved all of these like
I like
lines.
the word rustic. That's a good touch.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it was a wild movie. There's so many things like I don't think I'm gonna forget, and so many things like
true.
I'm gonna be referencing for a little while because there's a lot of go-tos, I think. And
Bark
yeah,
like a dog.
oh, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Just him crawling out on all fours, but. Yeah, I did love, the black and white. I did love, the aspect ratio, and just the humor that they had in this movie just really worked for me. And it just, I don't think I'll ever forget this. And a part of me thought that I might actually buy this movie just to have so I can.
Madison will never forgive you, though.
Well, no, I'll never watch it with her again. But I mean,
Jesus.
I just feel like it's a movie like that I would want to own just so that if I ever have company over, like, hey, I got a great fucking movie.
I'm sure the movie cover is him fucking starface.
Oh God! If it isn't, I'll make my own DVD case cover and I'll
Zoom
fucking
in.
put it. Yeah, zoom in. But I honestly feel like I could give this movie a 7 out of 10. Just because,
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and not that I like. I feel like
that's a
it really
weird
kind of
number.
spruced up because we were talking about it. But I love the high they were getting out of the lighthouse and living there, and just how insane things went. And the scenery and just how things were done. And yeah, those lines like sperm whale's pecker and bark and yeah,
we gotta make a movie like this, Taylor. You and I. We gotta remake it.
We could.
I'll be the
Yeah,
mermaid girl.
we totally could. Oh God. Well, if Travis is Robert Pattinson, I mean,
Who do you say you're the mermaid?
I'm gonna be the lighthouse. You can be the mermaid.
I was gonna say I'd be the lighthouse. I'll be the horn.
Oh.
All right, those are your thoughts?
Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. When I was watching this film, I thought for sure Willem Dafoe was just gonna be the like here for the audio listeners, basically to the roof, and then Robert Pattinson just like a few notches below him. And I was definitely feeling that for most of the film, but I feel like when Robert Pattinson started going crazy, I was like, man, like he's such a good actor as well, and I felt like they're on par for the most parts. Like after he starts going crazy, because for majority of the film, I felt like he was just doing work. He wasn't really saying much. He was just kind of there to be the foot soldier, like do the duties. But when he starts going crazy, man, like he was just selling me on a guy who just going insane on this rock with this crazier guy, Willem Dafoe. I love those two together. I thought the acting was amazing. I'm not gonna just rehash what I said in the non-spoilers. So I really enjoyed this film, and I'm really excited to rewatch it. It's not the most rewatchable movie, I think.
Yeah.
Like it'll be one of those you kind of bring out every once in a while.
Nice rainy, stormy day.
Yeah, we always bring up like Thor Ragnarok. Like that's just such an easy, like digestible movie to put on whenever, because it's just fun. Whereas this one, it's fun in a weird way. It's just
Not as digestible.
No, like exactly. If I had little cousins around, definitely wouldn't throw this one on.
Wait until they're 21.
Yeah, you gotta be at least 21 for some reason.
Wait till you're 20.
But I really, really like this movie, but because it's not the most rewatchable, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Like I said, I'm excited to watch it with like a handful of people that I know will just love a fucked up weird movie. So, and I probably should have said this in non-spoiler, but like the black and white, I didn't realize like how much of effect it had on like the day versus night. Like the nights just seem so dark and the days are just so bright. So I thought that was a really unique thing that obviously you don't get when you have the full color spectrum when it's black and white.
Yeah.
It's definitely noticeable, and I just really appreciate it because I think there's one dream scene with Robert Pattinson, like when he first sees the mermaid, and it's like pitch black. I could like barely see
when he's
anything.
going out in the water.
Yeah, and you see the logs.
That's a good shot. Every time it cuts back to him, he's like deeper in.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and I didn't even think about it till now. But like, obviously, the logs are kind of like making him think back to when he was working up in Canada, and I don't know if it's tying in with Winslow or that whole event that happened, but just really unique film, definitely one of a kind, and so yeah. Cool film.
That makes sense. I guess that's why he walked out there, because he saw Winslow's body floating in the water, right? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He saw a body.
I thought it was.
Face,
I thought it was a mermaid or something, but it would make sense if it was.
Well, I
Winslow.
thought you could see like white hair on him.
Maybe in
little bit
retrospect
or
now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Rewatch it again.
I was thinking it was a mermaid, so clearly that was wrong. Couldn't see anything. It was all
I
black.
just thought it was a nondescript body.
Yeah.
It wasn't glorious enough to be a mermaid, I guess.
I kept thinking that it was like a crew member of the boat, and they were gonna find out that the boat got into an accident and no one's coming for them.
I was kind of thinking that for like why is there logs floating in? But obviously now we know it was in reference to the log thing. Yeah.
Taylor, where can they find us?
They can find us with that internet connection, ladies and gentlemen, through those stormy days.
I thought you were gonna say Stormy Daniels for some reason.
Stormy Daniels and your stormy days.
Stormy Daniels.
Do you know who Stormy Daniels is, Taylor?
Stormy Daniels?
Yep.
Is it an alcoholic beverage?
As a Trump fan, you should know who Stormy Daniels is.
It's a drink. Yeah, it's a drink.
Is it a drink?
No.
Google it.
Everyone's
Like
fucking
Daredevil.
No way.
Kingpin and Daredevil.
I'm gaslighting
But yeah, internet connection, Facebook, Geekverse Space Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Travis, I have to just say, I realize your mic holder is on the reverse.
Whatever works. Man.
So it's.
But isn't that going to like stretch out the other side? Because this side is like skinnier and tighter, and this side's wider to hold it. So you'd be stretching it out, right? Stretching it out like the mermaid.
No, I don't think so. Not that much. But you know what? It makes you that happy.
What a kind gesture
there
by
we go.
Travis Snell.
Thank you very much, Travis.
Team
Very
That's how it starts.
The
That's
Wolf
how it
Order.
starts.
Wolf Order forever.
But in a few more
forever.
weeks.
No, for one more night.
For
I thought.
one night.
One night only.
Yeah.
Before
You
I
guys
get
are plotting something. I can tell.
Just like the Lighthouse, we
Teammate
turn on
company.
each other and we're friends again. All the descriptions are down below for the video and audio. Just subscribe because we got lots of good stuff coming the rest of this month. But November and December are packed with Star Wars, Disney Plus, great game reviews. Yeah, you just want to stay tuned. So thank you very much for tuning in to this very unique review. And it will not be boring next time you hear from us.
The light is mine.
The light is mine.
How long have we been on this rock?
Goodbye, friends.
Kirkland, I want you to watch Midsummer. I want to hear what you think.
I
Did you watch Hereditary?
Yeah.